Hello, Internet! Welcome to 2.5 Brains. This is our discussion of the latest episode of the Amazing Race. Amazing Race, Season 33, Episode 3. Gonna talk all about it here. Definitely a first for this show, a first time for everything. We're gonna break it all down here. Actually, we're recording in the car on the way to The Rock, so we're going to do our own little race, if you will, as we record this today. We're kind of phoning in this episode just like CBS did, so why not? But let me go ahead and bring in the co-host here. I'm going to go grab a Gabby and bring in the co-host, Jessica. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hello, sir.
Hello and welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Be sure to subscribe. So you don't miss anything. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Productions. You can email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. And you can subscribe. And so you get all the emails about the shows when they come out. We'll try to get some more guests on our other shows as well, and dive on in here at some point. Maybe do another sports show too. So let's go ahead and start here. We'll talk about the latest episode of The Amazing Race.
Hey.
Exactly. Let's go Buffalo. So let's talk about the latest episode of The Amazing Race here. Episode 3. What happened, Jessica? Tell me the story.
So many things. Let me bring up my notes here.
Yeah.
I gotta take notes. I have no memory at all.
Yeah.
So, England to Scotland. So they're traveling from England going to Scotland. Do you want me to just go into the roadblock?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the roadblock. Who thinks they have this one in the bag? I even wrote down all the titles. I was trying to keep up with it.
Exactly.
So with this one person from each team had to assemble a bagpipe and then go up in front of, would you call it a troop of bagpipers? I don't know what they call that.
Pipe
it's
band?
not a band of them. Yeah,
Sort of.
And they had to play a note. It seemed a little too simple though because each team got on the first try, and I can't imagine it's that easy to make a note on the bagpipe, but that's what happened, if you will.
As far as they showed, they on the first try, they may have had some teams do it 3 or 4 times, as far as we know.
Yeah, but usually they'd show that though, that the people were struggling, and then other teams would get ahead of them in that way. It just seemed like all they had to do was make a note that sounded like a note.
Right.
It didn't even have to be anything, I guess, specific. I don't know.
The hard part was putting the band together. I guess that was the challenge.
I guess, yeah. I people did pretty well with it, though.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yep, so that was pretty simple. The teams pretty much who got there, I think they were all on the same, because they all got on a train, right? They all got on a train. It was 500 miles where it was. So they got the rest and whatever, and then they got the train. And I remember the heroes were saying, "Oh, this is better than the last time we were on a train."
Yeah, it's a little, I guess, morbid too soon.
Yeah, right, exactly. So then what happened after that?
Well, yeah, so they took the train with the car, got that. After that, they encountered a detour. Either one, they had to put on a show. They had to dress in Highland attire and sing a song with kids about trousers. Or the other one was barrel making. They had to, refurbish 2 barrels. Whiskey barrels, yeah, exactly. In order to get through the pits or the detour.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they're driving themselves. They're just driving standard. So they had, some of them had trouble with that. It's always causes problems. It's not everybody, is good at it. Not everybody's, terrible at it, but it always causes some sort of headache for somebody.
Well, going on to The Amazing Race, you can assume that 100% that you're going to be driving a manual at some point.
100%.
Like 100%. So you should learn it pretty well.
Yep, no doubt. So what was the easier challenge, the barrel making or the other one?
It depends on your strengths. I think that the dancing and singing one was easier, but you had to memorize the song, so I guess that might not be easier depending on, your first language, as we encountered with a group.
Yep.
The barrel making didn't seem that bad. It was strenuous, so you had to be able to do that. But if you could work as a team to do it, then that one would be easier for that team. It did seem like the barrel making, they made that seem a little too easy, even though it didn't look easy to me. But everybody else also succeeded with that one on the first try too. No one really had to go back and fix it which was weird.
Yeah, I mean, the one team did a little bit, but they had a person, they had an example, and they had people doing it, so you could just watch them do it. And
Yeah, well, it was kind of like that whole tile making in the last season, but you had to really watch that whole thing to know what you were doing, and people weren't watching the tile one, and then it would, break in the end. But the one team, I can't think of their name right now, the father-daughter team.
Oh, yeah. Arun and Natalie.
Yeah, they chose the barrel one and gave up pretty quickly. I don't even think they watched how to actually do it. At least they didn't show us that.
Right.
And then they switched and went to the song and dance one.
For sure. So, then they had to go to the pit stop, and what was that?
University of Glasgow.
Yep.
Where they had a strong man holding a giant boulder.
Yep, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And they drive themselves there, right? And then that was that. So that was pretty much the race, right? I mean, that's
pretty much. I have to say I'm very happy with my team because they were number one with everything. They made it to everything first and did very well.
Yep, the oldest team on the race did a good job again. And it's it's one of those things too where the older team on the race, they usually do pretty well. Sometimes they fade a little bit near the end, but it seems like they don't cast people who are in freaking walkers, right? The oldest team on the race is usually in their 50s. I mean, sometimes they have an older person, one older person, whatever, but overall, it's not usually, people who can't walk.
Yeah, and I mean, since I've been watching with you The Amazing Race, there's always performance ones, like performance tasks, and, they pretty much do that, not for, I guess, for a living, but, they have their channel, so...
Now for a living, yeah, they do it.
Yeah, but I mean, for everything, they're always probably going to choose that, and they'll do pretty well, because they're very much showmans, even though they did have to do the one song a second time, but that was kind of funny with Penn turning into a diva.
Exactly. So they finished first, and then who finished last here?
Last was Akbar.
Nope. Nope, they're ninth. I don't think you have the 10th team on there. Ninth, who got eliminated?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't finish it. I thought I had 9. That was Natalie and Arun.
Yeah, so father and daughter team, they finished last. Akbar and them were very, very close. They were way late. Everybody, I mean, there's, you can tell, who's doing well, who's not. When one team gets there and it's light out, and the other team gets there when it's pitch black.
Right.
You can tell that they didn't do as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a couple teams that got there, way, way, way after everybody else. And this was kind of a continuation leg from the previous leg, anyways. But Natalie and Arun were last, and they were eliminated.
Yes.
And they finished. They finished. And their issue was, well, let me ask you, what did they do wrong? What was their problem?
I feel like with the barrel making, they didn't stick to it long enough to see if they could actually do it or not. She wanted to switch right away because they struggled, instead of taking a step back, watching it again, and trying. Because she switched to something that wasn't her father's strength, so he struggled more with that. I think they probably would have been okay with the barrel making for him.
No, I agree. I think they got there like 7th or whatever, or even 6th maybe, to the barrel making, and they struggled, and they didn't really. They went really fast. They didn't look and watch the example. They kind of just got happy feet, right? They're running really fast without really looking where they're going, type of thing.
Yeah.
And then they gave up really quickly and went to the other one, and it was one of those things where as soon as they said they're going to do singing and dancing, I'm like, Arun's not going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't speak great English. He's okay, but you have to sing a song in it's not another language, but it's it's their dialect. It's
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even have to sing it exactly in like an accent or anything.
No, but
if he's not good at memorizing things to begin with, then that's going to be a problem too.
Right, and singing trousers, that's not an English word. So it's like so there's just some words that were slang. You had to sing, you had to sing some Irish slang, words,
Yeah. And some people just aren't good at music. Like, you have to have the beat,
rhythm.
You have to have your timing. It bothers me to no end when people don't clap on the right timing.
Yeah.
So it's like some people just don't have that in them.
Right, no, for sure. And then they do a little dance, and I said, I mean, he, it's like he's a pretty button-up guy. I don't see him singing, dancing, or that. And I just and he said he was going to, which is, I believe in you, blah, blah, blah. And that's great. And they eventually got it, but they got passed up a few times, and they got there late. So it sucks. It was tough. Do you want to go through the whole boot order while you have it up, or
Sure, that's
or
fine.
the whole finish replacement order?
Yeah.
We're not gonna go through the so obviously we talked about why Arun and Natalie lost, but we'll go through the whole order right now of who finished where, and we're not gonna actually do a power ranking today. We'll explain why in a second.
Yeah, that's a ... All right, so finish. So Exactly. So number 1, my team, the Holderson family. They
Holderness.
finished first.
Holder's son or Holderness?
Holderson.
Holderness.
Holderness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was rating a lot of different things. I couldn't think of their names.
Autocorrect.
Penn and Kim
Yeah, there you go.
finished first. All right.
All right.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Second were Ryan and Dusty, which they've been at the top pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
Number 3 were the Heroes. They were always neck and neck for everything. 4 was Sam and Connie. 5 was Caro and Ray. 6 were the flight attendants, which I have to ask my sister about today.
Yes, exactly.
7 was Lulu and Lala. 8 was the YouTube guys, Taylor and Isaiah. And then 9 was Akbar and Sherry.
Exactly. So that's who finished in what order. As far as the power rankings go, they ended the leg, eliminated the team that was eliminated, and then they started the next leg, and they had them all come out of where they were, resting, because they get the 12 hours to rest or whatever, and they brought them out, and all the cameras, it was very ominous. The cameras had, they show all the camera crew and everything like that, and they all had, it was definitely pulling back the curtain a little bit. And Phil announced, hey, so the world's going through a coronavirus pandemic right now, and the number one thing, for all these years, the number one thing we've focused on is keeping the competitor safe, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So we're gonna suspend the race. We'll meet back here hopefully at some point, and we'll continue the race.
And he mentioned how he knows everything. It's hard enough to get there and everything, and hoping everybody can come back. And then they show the next start of the next season.
They flash forward then.
Started the leg again.
Yeah.
The race again.
Then when they restarted, it's basically 19 months later, and they're in Switzerland.
Yep, Switzerland.
They were in Scotland. They started in Switzerland, and they showed teams running out, and there's 5 teams.
Yeah.
5 teams. They ended with 9.
14.
There's 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
What? Holy good God! And the teams that were there, we can tell you who they were because we saw them.
Mm-hmm.
Who were they?
So it was Kim and Penn.
Yep.
It was Ryan and Dusty.
Yep.
It was flight attendants. I don't remember. I don't know if they're there. I know Lulu and Lala were there.
Yeah. Akbar and
Sherry. I think it would have been, I think the flight attendants. So Kim and Penn, Ryan and Dusty, Akbar and Sherry, Lulu and Lala, and then the flight attendants.
Yes, and so we know for sure the ones that weren't there were
Heroes.
The Heroes.
Sam and Connie. Your winner picks.
Yep.
Caro and Ray.
And
then Taylor and Isaiah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
4.
Yep. So, wow. So then they show Phil saying, so obviously some of it, and so we're waiting, okay, maybe there's only 5 there, they're bringing the other 4 back in or whatever, there's a delay or whatever. He goes, so as you can see, some of the teams aren't back. I'm like, what? And he goes, so we're gonna have some familiar faces.
We're gonna bring some familiar faces
to race with you.
I was like,
so I'm thinking they had like some
veterans.
Yeah, returning ones, which they have had that happen. So it was several seasons ago. I think it was a returning player season. Yeah, it was a returning player season, and it was Mark and Bopper from the Kentucky team. Mark and Bopper. And they had I think it was the last returning player season they had, like all returning player season, and the one that the father and son won, and the 2 country singers I think finished second. The 2 country singing girls finished second, but that Mark and Bopper, I think they started the race like the first couple legs, and then Bopper had like a medical emergency, and they had to pull him, so they brought in Mallory Irvin, who was a 2-time racer. She came back to race because she's also from Kentucky. So her and Bopper raced together, and they got knocked out pretty quickly after. But they brought her in to kind of take Bopper's spot. She was from Kentucky, they're from Kentucky, so they were still a Kentucky team. It just wasn't you know, and it was both all still returning players from Kentucky, just weren't the original team that started.
Right.
So it could be something like that. It could be maybe that they have like, you know,
the teams that started come back. A couple of them, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know if they'll do that. They might do like either returning players completely, like, you know, like they'll bring back like, you know, the Afghanimals or, you know, freaking Jet and Cord or, you know, the Globetrotters or something. You know, somebody. Corey and Tyler and Corey. Or, you know, whoever, you know, anybody. Or they could do even like you said what they did with Mark and Mallory, and just bring in like, okay, well, you know, we were gonna bring back the flight attendants, but only one could come back, so we're gonna bring in like a flight attendant from another season, or just something, you know, something else from one returning player from another season to kind of fill that team out.
If that's what happens, yeah. I mean, some of them, you know, it's not going to be like the couples. I don't think one would come back without the other, so I don't think they're going to do that. But I really think it's just going to be returning players from other seasons,
which is really crazy if those teams win.
On the faces of everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Returning winners, maybe.
Something.
Hopefully not for them, but
for their sake, right? I mean, and the thing that's crazy is like the teams who had the best. So let's kind of we're gonna wrap up here in a second. I want to talk about the players who, like, there was 9 players left when we left. So let's put them in their. I think there's 3 distinct categories. The 3 who had the worst shot to win. No, 3 basically had no shot to win. 3 who had an okay shot to win, and 3 who had a really good shot to win.
Right.
So let's go ahead and break that down. So first of all, who do you think? So the 3 left. I think it's pretty clear. The 3 who are the least odds winning. Do you have a thought? I mean, we really didn't talk about this before, but
Akbar and Sherry.
Yeah, they were not doing well.
I mean, I didn't think they were even going to finish. I didn't even know where they were until they started showing up to everything, and they just got lucky because no one else, you know, they didn't mess up as bad as Arun and Natalie did.
Yeah, they thought they were last, but they got to break something else was worse.
Yeah.
They've been struggling, so I think they'd be out. And then I think Isaiah and what's his name? Taylor. I think they were in trouble.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were.
So too.
They started off like they looked like they had a lot of potential, but they just weren't getting it down well, and it was not good.
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, had problem with direction. I don't know if they had the best direction.
Yeah, I don't know. They seem like they seem like they would be pretty good, but for some reason it just wasn't happening for them.
Right.
And then there's the third team I thought was not great. Was
that's still there?
That
ended with them there.
Right. Okay. Who do you think? I think there was one other that was pretty clear. Any thoughts or?
Let's see here. Bring this up. Okay. Kara and Ray.
Yeah. I think Lulu and Lala.
Yeah, I guess Kara and Ray did better this last one, but I mean, they were definitely having problems getting along with things, and you know, when someone got mad, they were trying to get back into it and all that.
So I think separately they're pretty good, but they just don't get along well.
Right.
So I think they'd be my second tier.
Yeah.
Of like they have a shop. They definitely wouldn't be a top, top team.
Yeah.
So Kara and Ray I think would be in that second group with Connie and Sam. For sure. And then the other one would have been who do? Yeah, for sure. I think they would be in that grouping as well. And then the middle grouping. I think the top 3 teams would be the Holderness, Dusty, and Ryan, and then the heroes Spencer and Anthony.
Yep.
I think those would be. Now only 2 of those teams are back, so we'll see how it all goes and what the situation ends up being. And who they end up coming in to replace the teams who got knocked out or whatever they're going to do. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Either way, this season has a giant asterisk on it, obviously. It was going to either way. But the fact that half the cast isn't back, right? I mean, half the people. And then they're having a couple people come in the fourth leg to start.
I wouldn't consider it was much of an asterisk if everybody came back.
Correct.
Because even though they're going to get, they got a 19-month break, they're still going to be starting and have a long time to go. They only did 2 legs.
3, really, but yeah.
So 3, yeah. But they still had a lot more to go, so it's not like it was going to be easy from there. It's not like they had one more left.
Right, and for sure. And Phil even said, Phil's like, you have 19, or not 19, but you know how long, because you have some time to stop the race, regroup, figure things out, practice,
Right.
realize what you did wrong, and then come back.
And that's the only benefit, I guess, for them.
Right.
They can go learn how to drive a stick shift.
Right, all those things, right? Fix the mistakes, and so that's one good thing for them. But yeah, obviously, I mean, that's not what you want, and so that part, if that was the only thing and everybody else came back, I'm shocked at it. I mean, I don't know what happened. Who knows, right? And there could be health problems. There could have been, anything. Hopefully, nothing bad happened to the racers, anybody in their families, anything like that. Hopefully, But
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
crazy.
Like I said, it's possible Spencer had to go, if he's still active military, he had to go back for the pandemic and everything and all that stuff too.
Possible.
But, there's different things that could have happened for some people.
Yeah, no, right, you're right. And it's just crazy. Like, I expected, okay, well, they'll pause, they'll come back in a few months, blah, blah, blah. I didn't expect that half the teams would not be back.
Right.
That shocked me.
Right.
That is shocking. Maybe some of the relationships, I mean, if you look at who's gone, some relationships maybe didn't work out now because they were in quarantine together for 18 months and they freaking realized they hate each other.
So our pre-show, though, I got it wrong because Kara and Ray, I forgot, the pandemic didn't happen till after. So they didn't meet through...
Yeah.
They met through a dating app, but they didn't meet they didn't meet through a dating app. They met on the show.
Yeah.
But I thought they met through the app during COVID because a lot of people had, but no. I mean, they didn't live together, though, but that could have also been a problem with the pandemic that they didn't get to see each other either.
And they weren't back either, right?
They weren't back.
So there's three couples who were married or dating who aren't back.
Well,
And then...
Yeah, Sam and Connie have kids, though, so they probably didn't want to leave them during all this
It's true.
stuff, and they didn't want to risk getting sick or whatnot.
That's true.
Some people could have pre-existing conditions. They didn't want to expose themselves or go around the country. Some people probably couldn't get away from work because they already did it once, and then, being able to have an understanding job, I don't know. There's different factors.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm interested. I want to hear from the teams who didn't. Obviously, I'm a fan of Spencer and Anthony. I want to hear what's going with them,
Yeah.
So, and instead, Amazing Race is good with that. They usually get some, minor celebrities. I mean, what was it? A few years ago, they had Bethany Hamilton on the show. The girl who got her arm bit off by a shark.
Yep.
She was on the show a few years ago. So like you got to see like different, people who are minor celebrities on there, and get to kind of get to see more about them and learn more about them, and it's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what happens next week. Either way, if they do bring in teams to start, they're starting 4 legs into it. So if they win, it's definitely an asterisk.
Mm-hmm.
And these teams, whoever loses, whatever, or wins, it's just a weird thing. And obviously it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate this happened. I really was liking this cast. It's one of the casts. Amazing Race. One thing about the Amazing Race, they usually have pretty likable people on.
Yeah. I had no complaints about the people on this season at all.
Unlike other shows.
Other shows I despise, loathe entirely.
And not for nothing too, but a lot of the people on the shows here, they it's different on the Amazing Race because you don't have to be backstab, you don't have to be cutthroat, and that's why it's easier to be likable on the Amazing Race.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's really it. I mean, there's really not much to talk about. I mean, obviously the power rankings, there's no need to do that. We can resume them next week when we know who's all there and what the teams are. I mean, if I had to put the 5 teams that we know are still there in order, it would have been Akbar, Lulu, and Lola. From 5 to 1. Akbar and Sherry, Lula and Lola. The flight attendants, and then Holderness and Ryan and them in some order.
Yeah.
And that's probably how I would rank them. But really, it's pretty crazy. I mean, and maybe they'll bring back some of the 2 teams that were eliminated, maybe to give them another shot. I don't know.
I don't think so because I don't know. It's hard because I think that isn't fair to bring them back.
Yeah.
But it's kind of restarting anyways. But then it's also not fair to bring in all these random teams when it starts up again. So my question is, are they going to add more legs because they can now?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, they said they're not going to do a lot of stuff in cities because of
They can't. But
they can't.
I mean, they're in Switzerland right now, so it really just depends on the country and how they've been handling all this stuff.
Switzerland's been really good with it. So
right.
I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I really have no idea. I'm really interested to find out how they're going to do it and everything. Definitely disappointing
Yeah.
But I guess that's welcome to the, 2021, how that was in 2020 and all that. So
Yeah.
welcome to the world of disappointment. Anything else?
No, I don't think.
Not really. Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk more next week. We'll have a better idea of what is going to be happening. I really don't want to read anything on it because I could have looked it up and whatever and read more, but I really don't want to do that because I want to kind of at least see one more episode, and then after we know for sure these teams aren't coming back or whatever, then you can maybe try to read up more and kind of what happened and why they didn't come back and whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have like exit interviews and press they'll do for the teams who couldn't come back, if that's even possible,
Right.
But yeah, and I hope CBS goes into it. I really do. I hope they go into it. Yeah, so Anthony and Spencer aren't back because of this, and and Isaiah and Taylor aren't back because of this, and
Even if it's just for family or personal reasons or something,
Right.
like tell us if it's because of them or because of something else.
right. Like I want to know if these teams are like, God forbid something happened to them.
Right.
Like somebody died of COVID or their
Right.
family members or something. I want to know.
Yeah, right.
Like, because not that it's my business to know, I guess, but just like, it's it's really bad to get invested in these teams and then pull the rug out like that.
Yeah.
And now you like the team, you never see them again, and no explanation.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So hopefully they go into it a little bit. I don't know if they will, but yeah, this is this is like back before I do the podcast and the vlog and everything. I used to write the blog in the last season. I think the last season of the blog, maybe it was the second last season of the blog. I did the the actual blog,
Right.
and this episode reminds me a lot of the Zeke and Varner episode, because I didn't even talk about the episode at all. Really, what happened? I just talked about everything that's circled around that, the controversy around it, right? So this is kind of how this episode is. You can't really do a full episode when something like that steals the show, right? When all the news channels are talking about in TMZ and E and all that are talking about what happened on that episode, you have to talk about that.
Yeah.
You can't really talk about the strategy of the game, So that's kind of what this one's like, unfortunately. But we'll be back soon. We'll be back next week with more, and definitely subscribe to us anything like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Row Productions. That's facebook.com/Pavement Row Productions. So this show and any other shows we get out in the next few weeks, they'll be right there. So subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss anything, and you get them sent right to you. And like I said, you can email the show directly, pavementrowproductions@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you know anything, if you heard anything spoiler-wise, whatever. Feel free to send it along. But obviously, like I said, we're not trying to talk about any of that stuff until the next show airs. So at least we have something. We kind of have the okay to talk about stuff. And we see how CBS is going to handle it.
Right.
Anything
Yeah.
else?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So obviously they shut it down, and Bertrand Van Munster and Elise Dognerari, made the decision. So I kind of want to hear from them of why they, what happened, and kind of get their insight a little bit, and who made the call. And like I said, could they have waited a little bit longer and the teams could come back, and then maybe this team could come, that team couldn't come? How do they make that call, right? Like, hey, we're gonna start back tomorrow. Can you come back tomorrow? No, I can come back next week.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how they made that call, but I'd like to definitely hear more about it. So
Yeah.
cool. So I said, definitely subscribe to Miss Anything. We'll be back next week. Anything else, Jessica?
No.
All right, great. Well, until next time.
Hey.
Exactly.
Hey.
Exactly.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Indeed. And until next time, safe travels.